Okay, hi everyone, welcome back, and in this update we are going to check out XRP's price chart and let's zoom in more. If you remember, the previous time that we talked about Ripple, we were around this specific area, and the idea was that this can very well be a 1, 2, 3, 4, meaning we may actually get another move up into wave 5 in order to even take all the highs in here, which the highest high is around $3.1, but we shouldn't really be at that point overwhelmingly optimistic. Odds are on a higher degree. We are just having the subwaves for an A, B, C zigzag, meaning what? Two scenarios can be in play. Either we are going to see some more chopping around, some boring price action, or maybe from here a move down in order to take all the lows. And what happened? Not only we didn't get a move on the upside from here, we actually got a move down, and in it, if I just hide everything, excuse me, as you can see, we did take all the lows, including the lowest one down here, about $2.7. So what is the idea in XRP? First things first, let's just zoom in more and talk about some short-term price action. Excuse me. Okay. Now, here is what I have in my mind. I think in this last leg on the downside only, we should be able to find a 5-wave down. However, so far, I don't really think we are. In my view, this is probably, excuse me, either an A, B, C zigzag, or maybe an A to about here, followed by that a running flat to around this area, and then we're gonna have another move up into our C leg, and after this is over, we are going to have a move down in order to take the lows. Now, in case we get a move up from here and then we take this high, at that point, you need to have your eyes on this important low, about so far $2.8. Why? Because if we get from these areas a move down and take the lows, that is going to confirm that we are having in here indeed an ABC zigzag and not a 5-wave, suggesting our move down is going to continue. On the other hand, if from the current area we are going to get a continuation of the move down, then okay, maybe you should have your eyes on this important slow down here about $2.77, because if we take it, that is going to be unfortunately a confirmation of the bearish scenario that I'm thinking of in this area. And this correction structure, in my view, can be into a larger degree wave 4. And what's next? Well, I think you know the answer. Unfortunately, another move on the downside into wave 5. You can consider also other caps. For example, you can say maybe this is a 1, 2, but to about this point, and this is a 1, 2, 3 correction for 4, another move down into wave 5, which is like a bit more of a bearish scenario relative to the previous count. The point that I'm trying to make is this: seems like in the next couple of days, our move down in XRP is going to continue. Now, here's a very important point. The fact that our move down is going to most likely continue is not actually that important. What really matters is this: what are we going to do with this important slow down here about $2.7? Why? Because if we take the lows, at that point, this is going to open the doors to some more serious downward price action. I'm thinking probably at least about another 15 to even 20% move on the downside. And that will make me consider the possibility of having, starting from the highest high, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down, followed by a correction up, meaning overall, most likely an A, B, C in form of a zigzag structure. Now, is this thing such a bad sign? No, I don't really think so. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, if we do get a continuation of the move down and we take all the lows, at that point, I expect XRP to go around the lower band of this unbelievably important, right now, let's say support area, which is about $2.5. And sure, we may go for like a very brief period of time under here about 2.4, 2.3 bucks, but then I'm expecting a very strong bounce back, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at that point, all eyes on this important high around $3.4. Why? Because if we do go up in an impulsive manner in this space, and then we take this side, at that point, it means our bull run in XRP is simply not over yet. And it's actually going to continue for quite some time, because we can argue then this is 1, this is 2, and guess what's next? Yep. Big move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. Overall, even with the recent move on the downside, I don't really see a whole lot of bearish signs suggesting in XRP our bull run is over. I really have a very hard time believing that after a 7-year consolidation pattern. We are just going to barely set by like the smallest margin an all-time high and take the highest size somewhere around $3.4, and that will be it, our final top. It usually doesn't work like that, and actually around the all-time high in most cases we are going to form a correction structure, generally some sort of a slow and choppy move down, and this in my view definitely falls into that category. Why? Okay, let's just have a quick comparison timing wise and compare this move down, which is so far at least taking us about 270 candlesticks to this move on the upside, and as you can see this took us only 150 candles. So here is what this means. In my view, this suggests that despite having way more than enough time, almost twice, bears in this phase are absolutely failing to pull the price all the way back down to these levels, meaning bulls are still overall in charge, and maybe after like another small move down we are going to get a very strong bounce back. So this was scenario number one, suggesting that in the coming move down in XRP we are going to take the lows down here, and at that point probably you should count on another 10 to 15% move on the downside. Now on the other hand, according to scenario number two, before we take the lows down here, we can actually get a decent bounce in form of an ABC. At that point, that's sort of going to be a confirmation of the count suggesting we are having, as opposed to a zigzag, probably an A, B, C, D, E, a triangle structure, meaning what? Downsides in XRP, number one, are going to be unbelievably limited, and number two, this move is actually going to take quite some time. How long is it going to take? Well, we really cannot say anything for sure because there is no certainty in any market, but let's just use this move as a reference and see how long did it take for us to have this phase starting from this point to around the current area. As you can see, about 28 days, and if I just put this thing to about the lows down here, this is giving you about the end of September, which I do think is actually a realistic time frame, and I actually do not have a problem for this move taking a bit less time, and maybe even around the middle of September we are going to find our final low, the low of this hopefully triangle structure, and then it will be time to get yet another beautiful phase of the bull run in XRP. So again, in the short term, in Ripple, I do think our move down is going to continue, and in it, all eyes on this important slowdown here about $2.73. Okay, that is really going to determine what is next in XRP, but you want to remember, one way or the other, we are looking bullish. Now, what is happening in terms of indicators? Let's zoom in more. Okay, as you can see, in MACD, we are still having a buy signal suggesting the bull run is still fully intact in this phase, and after this is over, we can definitely expect yet another huge move up. And in terms of what is happening in a stock RSI, let's just bring it back up. There we go. We are having a sell signal. So if you truly do not care about the short-term price action, and for example, it doesn't really concern you what we are going to do in the next 2-3 weeks, may I suggest just wait a little bit more until you see buy signals in these two indicators at the same time. At that point, you can be bullish in the short term with a hell of a lot more confidence. And in daily time frame, okay, so we are having sell signals in these two indicators now at the same time, and these are actually confirmed signals. So this suggests probably, like we said earlier, our move down is going to continue. And once more, I'm gonna say it, please have your eyes on this important low. Okay, this is the key point that I'm trying to make in today's video, and I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in XRP's price chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.